Hey guys, I didn't do a check or anything. You've got Lady Hippy, and yeah, I'm still at the damn bar. I was fidgeting up here. I hope I see all you beautiful people out there, and that too many things aren't in our way this morning. I have tons to do, of course. I still have to call my hairdresser. You can see the hair is just like everywhere. I put the band on just to keep the bangs under control and to help line the headphones up because I have a rather small head. No hate, no. I crack myself up. I really do. I love getting down here because in my head, I'm talking to all of my Woodstocks, all the hippies. You guys are out there. I mean, we can make a difference. Come out here and have a drink. I mean, hit a like, hit this. Any subscription would be perfect. I can't tell you how much I appreciate all of you who are already with me. I know that I'm bad too about seeing something just booming in on YouTube and watching a clip. Excuse me. And I usually watch it on my 72-inch. And I haven't gone through and put my YouTube password in. And so I can like it all day long, but I can't subscribe until I put my password in. I have like 15,000 passwords, and Google's not keeping up with that shit. I'm just, so I don't want to make another one because this is how I also broadcast. We got a bit of an echo. Let me see if I can come down a little bit. A little bit. Yeah, I love my golden mic, but sometimes, yeah, you can hear me outside. There's been a few though that I've done where my head's way down here. So I'm learning as I go. I don't have a production team, guys. It's just me all the way. I wear all the hats. Actually, I like it that way. I'm very bossy, so I doubt anybody work for me anyway. So I've checked. I couldn't find anything about the volcano that went off and endangered. Well, they had to evacuate Reykjavik, which is the capital of Iceland, and I'm doing it again. I have so much to do today, and yeah, I guess you'd say kind of dressed. I mean, I got to run out in public, and so I try not to do that in my work clothes. But really, these aren't my work clothes. I just can't wait. Yeah, I have a friend in Alabama, and she says that I dress like 1950s to clean the house, and I do. I've been well known to wear pearls and a 50s dress and clean the house. I mean, shampoo carpets, the whole thing. So I'm really nice and glad about the fact that we now have wood floors. That Robert got that done for me and painted because I hate tan, and it was like the whole room was like I don't know. It was claustrophobic. I mean, there was no color, but we have not been able to get back to. There's just been no time. We need to hang our pictures back up, pictures of the children and the grandchildren, and just things that have not gone back, like my badge from Scotland to denote which tribe I belong to, and I was just thrilled to find all that out. And I used to go to the Stone Mountain and to the um, Scottish Rites Festival, and now that we've gone up here to to Augusta, it's like it's a drive to Atlanta. It's not as bad as going down where my stepdaughter and grandchildren, great step grandchildren. It's hard for me to say step all the time. At any event, it's only a couple of hours, but for my back, that's not a good thing. I can run to town. For me, it's 2 hours away, so I can run up there and I can get whatever groceries and cat food, which is always a thing every fourth day. Uh, really, and we've had 4 more kittens, and see, and I just fidget. It's like it's backwards, so we're just gonna leave it this way and say, okay, that's yeah. It's just not right, and I'm a Virgo, and my kids say that I'm OCD because everything has to be clean. You can eat off my floors most of the time. Then we had cats. Things changed. We bit a little bit, yeah, a lot. It's like they say, well, the camera adds 10 pounds, and I'm like, really? And I looked at my 72-inch when I'm trying to edit if I have a chance. Otherwise, I'm looking on the Chromebook screen. Well, on that, I don't look so bad. I'm so tiny. Although it's one of the largest screens I could buy. for a Chromebook. But the 72-inch gives the lie to that 10-pound thing. Oh, no, 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 ladies. That has 40 pounds, just as an offshoot that you might want to think about. It seems like, oh, my glasses. And I probably have nothing to clean them with. No, I don't. I'm running this morning, and blessed, I wasn't too late. I did manage to get up here by 10. So as I was trying to get myself in order, which long story long, I was watching Jaguar ride, and then because I couldn't find anything except the IDF, and I pray for them, and I got really angry when I saw the protests that were going on at Yale. It was more than I could watch. Truthfully, I said it's too early in the morning, and I throw things at my TV. So my husband's always going, "Don't throw stuff at the TV. It's bad enough you talk." To us like, "Yeah, but I'm always right. Never says I'm wrong." So, but yeah, I saw that the protestations, and I believe they've managed to either close down sections of Yale or send all of them home to do it online. Uh, I'd like to know where the parents are, truthfully. Um, that's the first line of defense, folks. What the hell are the parents doing? The parents can't see this at the 6 o'clock news. I know my kids do this. My kids don't. I mean, they watch CNN, they watch ABC, Fox, all of them. And I was a Fox fan because they started out in San Antonio as a free channel like PBS used to be. Yeah, now you got to pay for that. So don't get me started. I hear you. I know, right? Um, so we just have whole home Wi-Fi. Then they split that to internet and Wi-Fi. When DirecTV came out, we had it for 10 years, $25.99. We moved 3 times during that for various reasons. And we just hooked it up ourselves, sent the new address, and we were fine. $25.99. The fourth time we moved, it was $400 installation fee, and it's $289 a month. And so, of course, we no longer had DirecTV. And they rent you the stuff. That's the other thing that really ticks my arse is the fact that you have to rent the remote, you got to rent the modem, you're already paying them 200 some odd dollars to watch nothing. They got nothing. Most of the time, you go over to Netflix or at Freebie, whatever. I mean, they got nothing. I give YouTube a little credit. All the podcasts that they air, at least it's something different every day. So I will give them that, and praying since they've gone to YouTube Premium, which is their paid channel, and I'm not sure what is including in that. I don't care. I'm not going to be one of those people when they start doing that. I'm afraid I'm not going to continue. So I wanted to make sure that this channel took off, so that if we had to, I would go ahead then and pay for premium just to make sure the channel made it. I don't see any other channels that are saying that they are, the social Woodstock. And I call it social because it's on social media. And that's the name and whatever they've coined for this is social media. And so, I named it Woodstock because of us hippies. And, it's the third generation. They're still trying to be hippies. They fail miserably, but they're trying. So it's cute. It's kind of cute. My grandson's 25, so I know they're of what I speak. With me most of his life, we had him. His dad's a mile or, an exit away. So it's not like, they couldn't handle it. I can handle anything. Clean a toilet. And then when you're done with that, do the damn dishes. I'm so mean. But he learned. And I went over just like I did my son and my stepdaughter. Whatever they had in school, they gave me their school books because I would read them overnight. And yeah, I speed read. It's not a thing. It's just, yeah. So I'm reading, their books overnight, and I'm checking because in the back there are the lessons, and I'm wanting to know what takeaway I got from just reading them. So each time it was a new chapter, I would go to the back of the book, and get my lab books on it and write, this down, and what the question and answer were. I'm old school. I'll write them down. And of course, I didn't have a problem with it. My kids couldn't even come close to when I knew it. I was like, my God, I read it overnight, the whole book. You didn't read the one paragraph they asked you to read. So this is another reason I'm proud of my kids, and I'm proud of all the kids that got out of, well, that area. I'll just say Middle Georgia, it's nasty stuff. Don't go there, it's hell. I mean, no, it's hell on steroids. I kid you not. You couldn't drag me down there with a team of mules. You couldn't do that. So I'm like, no, there's that. Yeah, so I tell my kids all the time that how proud I am of them, because they had that horrific time in their lives, which was their high school years. And this was not an easy. It just, I don't know how to say about the schools without insulting them, but they suck. I won't go any further. They suck, and they got worse. And I mean, they really did. They got worse. Now they drag the parents out with 4 cops tasing them because they asked a question of the school board. I had teachers fired. I had principals fired. Oh, well, they resigned. Same thing to me, you know. You trying to give my stepdaughter a book that's got nothing but rape and pillage and so forth in it. And she gives it to me when she's on page 63. I'll never forget it. Of course, they wanted that book. And I said, you can get it from the judge, but you ain't getting it from me. You know, if this teacher is still here tomorrow, we will be in court. Because you don't teach a 15-year-old, I think she was 15 at the time, you don't teach her rape. And it was mainly Black people raping white women. And it was so racist. And I said that was the other problem I had. It was so racist. And I don't believe in racism. I don't care if you're pink and with purple. I don't care. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what race you are. I don't care where you came from. I don't care what religion you have. That's how you. That ain't none of mine. You know, I ain't gonna throw some shade on it. Ain't none of mine. You know, that's what America's supposed to be. Freedom. Freedom of speech. Freedom of religion. Freedom. It's just free. Let people alone. If that's the way they want to worship, who are we to say no? When Jesus himself, which is the Messiah for everybody, apparently for 2,000 years, except for maybe the Muslims and apparently the Jewish people, but for a lot of people, for many decades, we would go for millennia on this one. Was his message? Go out and preach to the world, and when the world has seen it from end to end and has either accepted, basically, or rejected, will be the time of the rapture and all that stuff. So, read the book. Skip part of Genesis. You know, read the first part or so down. But when they start that begat stuff, just skip it. You know, I can tell you that Methuselah was Noah's grandfather. Okay, as good as you need to get to, because after that, they're gone anyway. You know, I got a problem with a God that says, let's burn everything down or let's drown everything out. That, you know, I'm like, you know, and I'm terrible at it. I was raised Catholic, so to speak, which used to set my mom's hair on fire. They used to throw me out all the time out of church as a communist. So I finally quit going to church because it was real hard on my sister. The stories I could tell. I've argued with bishops and cardinals in Rome when I took my son to be baptized there. Doesn't mean I don't believe. It means I don't believe anyone else. I will find out what I need to know. I will look into it, and I advise that for everyone. You don't go to the grocery store and buy stuff because 14 people told you to get this, do you? No, you don't. You investigate. You say, okay, I'll check out one, but you investigate these things yourself. So everything I'm talking about, everything I wanted to do, is also to investigate ourselves. So, and that's why they call them preachers, by the way. They still fidgeting. Um, they preach at you, and they, the hellfire and brimstone. And there's one, I can't think of his name. Boy, he's an ugly pup. I mean, he's an ugly pup. He's been caught a couple of times on camera, off his stage, even on stage. On stage, like, did Jesus have a stage and pass the plate? Yeah, show of hands. Take your time. Oh, hell no. They killed the man. And they say, oh, Herod killed him. No, he didn't. The Sanhedrins did. The top Jewish priest killed Yeshua Joseph, Jesus Christ. He even said, and it's recorded in both their laws and in the Bible, that he could find no fault with this man. You should let him go. We have a self confessed and caught thief. Since this is one day of the year, you could let a prisoner go. And of course, they didn't let Jesus go. So it wasn't Herod. And he actually went to the point of asking for water and a towel and told them, he said, I'm washing my hands of this. This man is innocent of everything. And then, they took him out and crucified him. But Herod didn't kill him. Herod did a lot of nasty shit, like, the massacre of the children. But he didn't kill Jesus, which is, I find absolutely stunning because, like I said, the guy was not a nice guy. But no, one of the reasons I think that the Jewish population, and I don't know how there are any left, have been hounded from everywhere, from every country, Spain, you name it. And now the U.S., this is what's going on at Yale, is, the river to the sea, the river, they don't even know what the hell they're talking about. They have no idea. Now, I thought Yale, Harvard, all these schools were, the top-notch schools until I looked into them. They're not. Now, if you want to know about Euclid, read it. You're not going to go to Yale to find out what Euclid said or Socrates. That's just some in the back history area. Basically, I couldn't find a hell of a lot at any of these Ivy League schools that would give you a skill set when you left. There's not a lot of people that are joined out looking for folks that know, they got a master's degree in medieval artwork. Can you do restoration? No. What can you do? I can tell you what it did. They're not going to get a job. They got people flipping hamburgers that have master's degrees from these Ivy, and they should be. As a matter of fact, I'm so angry that it's amazing. I'm not spitting at the screen. I think the first line that they should have gone to is the parents. All right, these kids are grown. These aren't even kids as far as I'm concerned. I call everybody a kid under 50. They kind of are, to me. But to be honest, these are kids in their 20s. They don't know what they're talking about. Yet they get up there and they vilify a country that's always been attacked for 75 years and was attacked so severely on October 7th. They were attacked by land, sea, and air, all three, that they had no choice but to go to war. They had no choice. 250 hostages taken, 1,500 dead. This was a no mercy, no quarter given. And these were not our military combatants. And they knew this. They had little maps. They had what their orders were, which was to kill anything that moved. And if you think they're going to stop there, you're idiots. Reread stuff. Go back and listen to the Prime Minister Netanyahu. And I rather like Bibi, and I'll take and say Bibi because I followed him now for a long time. No, I'm not Jewish. I'm not trying to be Jewish. I'm trying to say what's right or wrong. And you can't tell another freaking country that's getting 350 missiles lobbed at it overnight that they don't have the right to go to war, that they don't have the right to defend themselves. And if that's what you're saying, God help you. God really help you, because you're not going to go to a good place. I don't care if it's the Israelis or if it's Mexico. We've got so much going on here because Mayorkas, and they're trying to think on to impeach it. A little late, 4 years, a little late. People are being killed, their homes broken into, things stolen, animals stolen, people being killed. They beat to death one young lady. And that was Lincoln something was her. I can't remember. Lincoln Lacey? I can't remember her last name. But by a guy, an illegal, who'd already been in jail 5 times for sexual assault. 5 times. And then they let him go. And there's no bail in New York. You can go, and this is why this shop and grab or smash and grab stuff's going on. You can't find a store open in New York City because it's empty. They don't smash and grab and took it all and sold it on eBay. They literally took it and sold it. You can't make this shit up. And it's not just there. Now, the South, I haven't seen that yet. And for their sake, I hope I don't. Because the Southerners not going to go for it. almost most of us, I would say 98% of us carry. We all have a concealed carry. And I do it because not just me, but what if there's 4 kids standing there and a shooter is on the premises? What do you do? Well, you're trying to get the kids to safety. And if you can't do that, failing that, you've got one other choice if you're carrying a weapon. That's to take down the shooter. And it's been done. That a civilian has done this, I know it twice, and saved several lives. It might have been only one life, but he saved lives by firing because he had a concealed carry. I always carry. I've always carried before they came out with concealed carry. It was either in. I mean, I used to. That's the thing. It made me so mad about one of the movies that Angelina Jolie did. I can't. Oh, Tomb Raider. The very first one. I used to duct tape to get everything and all my equipment, snatched down so I could jump, roll, run, do the obstacle, whatever, and I could and be reloaded. And I was so mad that she took that because nobody had that. I never ran into anyone else who did that. And after she stole it, I quit doing it because, well, for one, I changed courses and I got older. And it's harder to jump over a fence when you're 65 going on anyway. But yeah, I was very serious, and I am still very serious. I keep extra ammo, extra mags, a revolver that I can fan. They got laser sights. So it doesn't matter if I got my glasses on, which actually I can see better now across the room. But yeah, I'm not going to go for any shot. You're in my house, you're dead. One shot, one kill. I mean, I'm not going to aim for your middle or your knee or your hand. I'm going to take your face off. I'm going to shoot you dead between the eyes. And I suggest that every woman out there who decides that they can use a weapon take the course, practice every weekend. Always practice. Be familiar with that weapon. Be able to take it apart, clean it, put it back together. It needs that or it'll misfire. And when it does, you're the one that's hurt, not the enemy. And for as far as I'm concerned, the enemy is at the gate. And they opened the gate. And what happened? Innocent young women have been dying. Whole families have been attacked. This isn't reported. They're not putting that on NBC, ABC, whatever. The podcasters think I can talk about it, but ain't too many that are because they don't know either. They don't know what the situation was. This little sucker will start a fire. I tell you, we keep it up here at the bar because we have a friend that just adores this thing. And I forgot to bring one of my lighters. And I have one always on the bar because that's the way it is. And I ran out of butane. And this is only one of like 20. Robert's always cases and everything. And then I quit 5 years ago. And he's been very good about allowing me to have every once in a while my cheroot, cigarillo. I don't know what they call it here in the States. I used to get mine from France. But I love these things, and I had forgotten. It's been so long since I was in Europe, and he's been really good about letting me have some. Now these only come with 5 in a pack, so within a month I get 5. So you might see one that's short now because they go out. Mm, example. So you shouldn't smoke those on your podcast. I am who I am. Now, I'm not saying I'm proud. I'm just comfortable in my own skin. I always have been. I used to be a little more introverted uh, for various reasons because I didn't really do a lot but study for almost 15 years. So I mean, I always had a book. Um, Same with school. I was 3 years ahead. I'd already gone through those books and written up those because they used to have all the stuff in the back. So if you took all that and you wrote that out, when they gave you a test, either you knew it already, you've written it out, or you could answer it either way. I had a 4.0, and so yeah, it was important to me. I was ROTC, Like I said, fencing, swimming, gymnast. I did all of that, karate and so forth. And still, the Army made my eyelashes hurt. We had the old uniforms, the OD green and the pointy toed shoes, which really screw up your feet, ladies. You should try to get shoes that are square. And if they have a heel, definitely be sure they are square so your toes don't do this. And that side piece will be a bad bunion, because I can tell you, I've run in heels for decades. Back in my day, uh, I always worked for a hospital for doctors or something like that. And if I heard a phone ring twice, I was ready to slap the hell out of whoever I heard to answer the phone. I mean, in some cases, it could be life or death. And many times that I worked. So it was, you answer the phone when it rings or get out. It's not hard. It rings, you pick it up. You got one job. You can't do that, get out. I'm not a nice person in some ways. Most of the time I am now. I'm still bossy. You can ask my husband. He's not here right now. But he'll tell you, yeah, she's bossy. And we're both Virgos. Our birthdays are 3 days apart. The odd thing is that he asked me for years to marry him. I wouldn't marry again. And he too had had a bad marriage. We both had our kid. He could see her, but actually that was denied. We had to go to court 100 times, it seemed like. In any event, yeah, he finally says, okay, please, please, please. He caught pneumonia, nearly died, and they told me I couldn't go in there. And I ran those 3 hospitals. So I went back to my office, picked up my lab coat, put that on, took a shortcut back to the hospital. Walked right in. The lesson in that, everybody, is if you look like you belong, nobody's going to bother you. Now, if a terrorist wants to walk in and put on a lab coat and carry a patient's chart or whatever, they're not going to look at them twice. They're not going to think of a threat. They're not even going to notice them. I know I've done it many times. You throw that coat on, you're in. They need to change some of them rules. I done told them that in the 90s. I definitely told them that up into 2015. And we're overdue. Uh, we were totally overdue for a terrorist attack. They said global jihad was on. Hmm. As far as they're concerned, America is the Antichrist. I have no idea how they got to that conclusion, but they do want every American dead. I don't know about Canada, all that stuff, but it's supposed to be global jihad. Means you guys brought all the terrorists here. If you see a woman in a hijab, can you tell it's a woman? Hell no. Have you seen one of the things? Watch as they jump through the hospitals in the Gaza Strip. They're wearing a hijab, and underneath it, they're carrying a rocket launcher. I kid you not. You can't make this up. And going to underneath the hospital wherever they go. In one case, it was the CAT scan room. And in the CAT scan, there was not. You weren't going to put a patient there because they had guns and so forth and everything in there. And they used the ambulances, and people didn't catch on for 3 months that, oh yeah, the terrorists are in the ambulances, and they bragged about it because they could go here, yonder, whatever. They messed up just a wee bit because they kept communications open. The Israelis would have shut that down if they didn't want that communication to be tapped into. So they knew what was going on, who was going with it, and where they were going, and what they were driving. The only thing that I've seen twice is that they shot 3 of their own people who were being held hostage by mistake. And they killed 7 aid workers in 3 or 4 different vehicles that they bombed. Now, I don't know how they could make that mistake on either one, but I'm not here to judge. I'm here to say, look, if it was your backyard that shit was landing in, you'd want to know where the hell the military was. But y'all have the chutzpah to turn around and tell a country who's, like I said, 350 missiles, and then they celebrated, guys. Did you see that in the streets with the fireworks and all that? Yeah, they celebrated 350. Well, I don't think they thought that both Saudi Arabia and what was the other country, Jordan, besides the British and Americans, were knocking them down because they couldn't have. The Israelis couldn't have got all of them if they hadn't had that help. And that's a miracle. It's an absolute miracle that 350 different types of missiles were sent to Israel. Some of them got through, but they landed in areas that were not populated. So it did kill. I thought the 1 7-year-old. I could be wrong. There was 8 or 9 that were wounded, but it was still a miracle. 350 different type missiles. I mean, I can't even tell you what kind. I think there were 3 different kinds that they sent, and they took 7 times to arrive. One would take 2 hours, one would take an hour, this kind of thing. So they timed it so that when these missiles got to Jerusalem, they were all there. So they timed it. Yeah, it's a miracle. It was an absolute miracle. But they don't want to be at war. Well, they've been funding the terrorists for 15, 20 years at the very least. Personally, I think they've been funding them since the 90s. ISIS, they think, is gone. No, it's not. They just went in, changed their sandals, and said, we'll be with Hamas. Or whoever the Houthis. What a name, the Houthis. It makes me laugh. I know it's not funny, but oh, they're the Houthis. Oh, my God. I don't know why at one point one of them did go, I don't think that's going to work. So you have all these nations that actually stood up and supported Israel and knocked them down. And then I think they waited either 3 or 4 days, and then they returned a little bit of the missiles that came across their land. They were smarter. They didn't just want to hit the city or the country. They wanted to take certain things offline, out. You can't do it to us again. They did a pretty good job. They didn't get all of them. They did a pretty good job, though. I mean, I love the idea. I do. I was very angry as to where they were on October 7th. They did finally get there, but it took them, I think, around 8 hours to clear each kibbutz. There were 5 kibbutzes. I liken those to say 5 counties. You know, I'm going to try my tool here again. Damn thing scares me. So I saw that those had been, they still haven't been repatriated, so to speak. They have had to also deal with the fact that their northern border, Lebanon, just said a crap down for, so they had to evacuate those. So they have hundreds of thousands of refugees themselves. I didn't hear them whining and bitching and moaning and griping and complaining. But these other people, I do. Now, do you know that some of these people that were kidnapped escaped? You only catch that? Yeah, a couple of them escaped. They didn't make it because they thought that the Palestinians, and mind you, the Palestinians had been working in Israel before this happened, that lived in the Gaza Strip, but they also lived, worked in Israel, even though they lived in the Gaza Strip. And so when those guys escaped, they asked for help from the local indigenous people. I think they thought, of course, these were people, like I said, that worked there. And they thought that Palestinians themselves didn't want to kill him, didn't want to see him kill. They were wrong. Unfortunately, they were very wrong. They went to these people for help, and they called the terrorists to come get them. So never think for a second, not 1 second, do not think that the Palestinian people are not in this above their heads. They are wading in blood. And then I see kids on the Yale campus doing their thing, and they don't know squat. As my dad used to say, they don't know shit from Shinola, which is a World War II term. I believe that's how they clean their boots. I don't know. But it works for me. And so, I don't know what happened in Reykjavik. I know they were evacuating it, but it wasn't on any of the channels that I watched that have real news. It wasn't on the German news. It wasn't on the Israeli news. It wasn't on the news from India. And I watched them because they tell you the truth. They actually report the news. And maybe I was going through too quick to catch it. I don't know. And I had caught the fact that the Yale protesters are being told to homeschool or whatever. Isn't that nice? Yeah. Yeah, they're not having a problem with that hate shit going on. Yeah. Mm-mm. That's supposed to be a punishable offense by jail. I don't know how much jail, depends on where you are. And it's not just jail, Harvard, the rest of them are all in it. And they had the thing at the Senate where they had the presidents come in. One resigned. Good for her. I appreciate what she did because she was wrong. And she knew it. She knew it. So she resigned. The rest of them are still going, well, no, it's freedom of speech. I'm going to end that line, I swear. So, freedom of speech. No, it's not. It's hate speech. It's criminal. It's a crime. And it's actionable for prison. Well, jail at least. That's not what's going on. Take your ass outside and put your flagpole up. I'll wait. How many of you live in an HOA think you could put one of them up? Hands? Yeah. No, you can't do that. My son and daughter bought a new home that was brand new. It was just built. They were out in the middle of nowhere. They loved it. 3 weeks went by and they had 400 more houses right next to theirs. In fact, the way they built them, the two on the sides and the one in front can see directly into their yard and home. And they have an HOA. So if you don't cut your grass to a certain, they're out there. If you have a car parked on the road, you better get rid of it before X amount of hours. You can't work on your vehicles, period, unless it's inside your garage and no one can see it. So, yeah, they're fun. Yeah, they're lots of fun. And if you put up an American flag, they're not happy about that. You'd think they would be, but they're not. Just take it down. I thought there was a couple of guys that was really funny about this. And thank God they had the money. The one HOA, and this was probably 2 years ago now, came up to this man. He was a retired Marine. And he saw plenty of war in the theater. I believe he had several Purple Hearts as well. In the event, that doesn't matter. He was a veteran, and he put this flag up. We put our flag up and down. Our neighbor over here puts it. We're veterans. We fly the flag. Even on my car, I have a flag. U.S. Army. And I'm proud that I served, and I wish now that I weren't so old. I'd be in Jerusalem trying to throw that shit back at him, but you can't do it in an HOA. They won't allow you. So this one guy, okay, I'll take down the flag. He took down the flag. Then he had a house painted as a flag. Funny as shit. You can't make that up. Beautiful. Turned out beautiful. Absolutely. And then he made sure there was nothing in it, HOA rules or regulations to how you could paint your house or what color you could paint your house. So his house is a flag. I love that one. Another one kept getting crap because he flew a flag on his truck. I think he had a truck. And I fly on my car. I dare you to stop me and tell me I can't put a flag on my car. There'll be all kinds of police out there. I'll be calling them. In the meantime, this guy was funny too. He went and had his truck painted as a flag. He was so pissed off. Don't you know they couldn't touch him? So he had to fly a flag. His flag was his truck. So I've seen cute things like that go on in HOAs, but you should have to go to such lengths as a veteran to fly a flag, or for that matter, an American to fly the flag. You can't go to school and say, hey, I don't want you guys doing this to my kid. You're indoctrinating my kid. She's learning about Muslim religion. You keep religion and state separate. So what's going on here? And here come the cops to carry you out. Let's see what we got over here. I gotta look way back. If I don't sit forward, you can't see me. And if I lean way back, I can finally see the TV and get the remote to work. I've been saying I'm going to turn my butt around, but then I'm not so sure seeing me from the back. Wow. Hey, what was that all about? Geez, it sounded like I was at the zoo and the lions got out. And these headphones pick up everything. I'm going to let that go for now because my time is running by. I did, like I said, I didn't see a heck of a lot on the news, although I did try to watch. I did see they were going to impeach Mayorkas, who allowed 11 or so. That's what they could get. Stop that right now. Yeah, it echoes in my ears, but they hear me too. And I see that it was between Fancy, our white and orange cat, and Tommy, which was one of our first rescues. Believe me, we did not know God was going to send us these animals. And I have gone crazy trying to find different organizations that say they help animals. They don't. They don't. You can't reach one of them even to speak to them. You can make a donation all day long, online, on the phone. It don't matter. But can you speak to somebody for help? Oh, hell no. Don't think you can, because you can't. I see my time is just dashing by. It is why we call it the bar. Mm, Irish coffee this morning. I needed a bit of stiffener because I got the whole house clean. I got 2 cats that have hurt themselves, so I'm trying to do that. Well, now Grand Ghost, the new one that just ran the house, he's not hurting himself, or he's not hurting herself. Um, People are terrible. This is a domesticated cat, and it ran in the house till it found Robert and stopped, and he picked it up, and that was it. Another one. Okay, and then about a week and a half or 2 weeks into it, and this cat wouldn't leave him, so he was always in the man cave. And if Robert came down, he's usually riding on his shoulders. I mean, this cat just adores him. So does Tiger. And we didn't know what's going on. One day he called me. He said, Wanda, come here, help me. I was like, what's going on? Because he's panicking. She's not breathing. She can't breathe. Her tongue's out. She can't breathe. So I ran up there, and I knew I didn't have the medication to help with this. This was some type of, either her lungs were going down or something, attacked her lungs or something else. But I couldn't diagnose her. I didn't have anything I could do without a diagnosis. So he runs her up, and they start off at like $1,000 down, and they'll look at your animal. We're like, what? Because all of our cats have been neutered and so forth, and we had used the same place, but we had not taken one who was ill. And this cat was very ill. She was dying. So they told him to go to some hospital. I forget which one it is now. And they also help to get animals, cats, dogs, whatever, neutered and find a forever home. So he ran in the car there, and he's calling me, and he's on a headset, and he's going, I think she's going to die before I get there. She's going to die before I get there. It's like, no, she's not. You need to calm down. She's going to make it. Just make sure that the air conditioner is shoving it down in her face. She's getting air. And she was still alive. He ran in, and several of the vets ran towards him because he didn't walk in. He ran in. And before he could even say, help me, they were there taking the cat. We're going to take this one right now. It's life or death. We'll come back to y'all. Hopefully it won't take too much longer. And off they went. And they had Robert go with him. And they explained that it was probably going to be about $700. And Robert explained, I'm on a fixed income. I can't do that. Can't you please save her life? Just save her life. I will pay for it later. I've got $250 is the best I could do today. And I could give you a check for the rest for next week or whenever my wife's retirement comes in a certain fixed date and my retirement comes on a fixed date. And we pay all our bills. We do all of that first. So we really, I just don't have it. And she ran in. She wanted me to help her. Can't you please do something for $250? Certainly you could look at her and do something. And it cost him the $250, but I give him credit. They decided to work with him. And so now they're our new guys because they did that. And they determined quickly that she was an anaphylactic shock. Now, I suffer from that. If you give me codeine, I go into anaphylactic shock. The reason her tongue was out and she couldn't breathe, when you go into anaphylactic shock, your throat swells. So you can't breathe. And my son is also the same way with fire ants. He goes into anaphylactic shock, which I found out when he was 2. Scared me stupid. and I was stationed at Fort Sam Houston. Thank God. Amen. They saved my life, and then a few years later, they saved my son's. And but we knew at that point, for both of us, we knew we couldn't go to these two things. Now, they could have prescribed an EpiPen, but back then they didn't have EpiPens. This was the 70s still, end of the 70s. But now they have EpiPens, but you can't afford them. They have $500 for an EpiPen or some shit, you know. And when they tried, even Trump tried to get them to bring it down to where it's accessible to people, they wouldn't do it. So that's just a lot about capitalism. But I take albuterol as well. Um, I don't know if it's my age or the fact that every once in a while I sneak one of these. But for years, even after I quit smoking, didn't pick up the sugars, I was always out of breath suddenly. When I would sweep the floor and I was out of breath. And I was like, I expected the pain in my back when I did such a thing, but the breathing, it bothered me. I had already had double pneumonia and had died during that at the age of 36. So I died 3 times. They keep sending me back. I don't know. It's because they just don't want me up there. Or if there's something I'm supposed to do, I don't know. Maybe this is what I'm supposed to do: get everybody together and talk about things like, hey, they just arrested a father because he dared to ask them, why do you have them on Muslim prayer mats, but you're not praying as a Christian, a cat, that you're not even asking us. You're just doing this, and we're telling you we don't want you to do this. And 15 cops pepper spray him and drag him out. If y'all haven't seen that, just Google it. I mean, let me know. I'll throw it in there. There's several cases of that. I don't think that. Yeah, it done went out again. I'm tired of reloading it. Plus, I always promised I wouldn't do but like 3 or 4 puffs. And what in the blazes is wrong with this thing now? You used to say you still watching? I mean, no. I'm not watching. I'm sweeping and mopping. I'm vacuuming. You're just playing music. Shut up. Do your thing. But I want people to understand this is a forum for us. The man, as I grew up knowing, and I had an older brother, I had older friends. I grew up during the race riots of the 70s when they integrated schools. Not just white, but anybody could go. One thing people don't understand either is until 1968, a Native American could not go to public school. No, they couldn't do that. And that's well after they integrated or started to integrate schools. And this was a brand new school. I came from 8th grade to a brand new school, beautiful school. I love that school. Robert calls this a resort, but it's kind of right. I mean, what school teaches you fencing and allows you to go swimming? And, yeah, it was a great school. It really was. And so it's a pity when I saw what my 2 kids had to go through, my stepdaughter and my son, and they did it. You know, they made it. And several of my best friends' kids made it. They're nurses and so forth. And I'm so proud of them. Because again, that place is it's hell. You couldn't pay me. I am broke. If you offered me $1 million to move back there for even 2 days, you could keep your money. I'm not doing it. That's how bad this place is. I mean, you lose everything. Um, it's just a bad place. It's like you moved into hell and you didn't notice. But it was like 3 times my husband moved me there because of his brothers or his daughter, or because he took his mom's home when she passed. And after the 3rd try, I was like, burn it down. The 3rd one, his mother's house is very haunted. That's a story. And I love to go ghost hunting, but now I can't really get about as much as I used to. And I accept that. I admit that. I let everybody know that I'm not really ignoring you on purpose. It's easier for me and it's not as painful for me if I just run to town in my car, which has support and everything, with my cane. I love that part. I just have to have a cane. And that's doctor's orders. I mean, so Robert brought me like a dozen canes. So yeah, I use the darn cane when I'm out in public. I don't like it, but I do it. Apparently, when you're heading towards your middle 60s, shit starts falling apart. I'm just warning you ahead of time. Since we have all this new stuff, might not happen to your generation. Mine's screwed. It's like, where's my unemployment money? They don't like to hear questions like that at the Senate. Yet they are at least fighting about trying to close the border. They stopped Governor Abbott several times, or they tried to. I love Governor Abbott myself. I love Texas. I really love Texas. I wouldn't live there again now if you paid me for them either, for several reasons. I didn't really want to shoot anybody, so it's probably safer if I don't go. Plus, my kids are here. And my stepdaughter is close enough for my husband to get to because I can't do that kind of a drive. It's like a 6 hour round trip. So I can't do that. Now I can because he bought a drivable motorhome. It's as big as the house. So if I start hurting, I can lay down or whatever. Basically, for me, it's I have to get off my feet. And if you know me and you see tears running down my face, it's me fighting the pain to finish whatever it is I've started. The floors, whatever, and the pain will be just indescribable. And I'm waiting to see my doctor in a few weeks because she said it had never been X-rayed, and she sent me down. I had a month window to go, and of course I finally went. So I'm wondering what she found. I would like to know after 30 years of suffering this and then just covering it up with pain pills and so forth. Um, and I don't like narcotics. And so she did put me on a narcotic, but she did not renew the narcotic. So I'm good with that. And she knew I don't want a narcotic if I can avoid it. And so far I've been able to avoid it for about 5 years. And I took pain medication for 25 years of the 30 years. So I'm always in a lot of pain, which is another reason I do these early. It's another reason I have to do things in sections. So I've had to learn to slow down, which has been really hard. I'm one of those, as you could probably tell. If you run a department or a division or a battalion, you don't get to sit down. And you're there by 6 and you don't leave till 7 because these people are under you. So you have to make sure they're doing what they're doing and you've got to do what you do. So I was used to these, 20-hour days and so forth. And then I kind of backed off. Then I ran hotels for the last 5 years or so that I worked basically. And then I ran the IT department at Bluebird, which is all your buses. They're all from Bluebird. And that's, of course, down there, what I call hell. So I was happy to leave there. So now I'm actually retired. With the money and everything. I'm retired. I'm shocked that they give me a little of my money back. I always thought that was funny, too. I didn't have to wait 4 months for it. You used to have to wait 4 months. And as a matter of fact, I only had to go one time in person. The rest was done on the phone. And within a few days, my first check appeared and everything was done. I was like, you could have knocked me out with a feather. I was like, what? But it was that way for my husband as well. But his was disability because he was fighting cancer. And even though I was fighting cancer back a decade or more ago, more than a decade because I still lived and I went to Durham VA. They would not give me any paperwork that said I was disabled. Now, this is a VA. If you don't have any legs and one arm, you're still not disabled because you can answer a phone. It's a different view of disability from the VA. So after fighting for 10 years, don't use Bender and Bender, folks. I'm telling you, they can come after me if they want, but they're a screw up. They will take you and your money and screw you running. No dinner. Just don't use them. Look it up yourself. You don't even have to, like me, you don't have to go to the law library. You can pick up the law library, read it at home, and print it. My husband's still a little worried because I did that for my first marriage. I fired 3 attorneys and then I became my own attorney and turned out I spent $75 to finally get that back. Even the judge was going, you should be an attorney. I'm like, no, no, I'd be shot. Which she probably agreed with. She was very good. So that went well. I got my child and my name back, and that's all I wanted. Had I wanted him to pay for the kid, because I couldn't without that money, then I would have kept my son. No, my son was my son. That was my decision. If the courts allowed me to keep my son, then I pay for him. I don't want any of his money. He didn't have any money when we were married. It was like one of the reasons anyway. We won't go into that. So that was fun. So my husband's a little leery of me because I could like divorce him in 60 days. No, literally. For like $150 now. Doubled. Yeah, I know these things. He knows I know. I think it's kind of funny, but he probably doesn't, but he's a good husband. And he takes care of me. And we like any other couple, we might bitter a little bit, but we get over it. Usually by going to different rooms. So I still don't have anything, no comments. I can't do this, guys. I can't do it without you. I really can't do this channel without you. I need you so bad. I bless everybody that's with me. I love all you guys that you're staying with me, that you came with me, that you subscribed, that you watch me. When even I know I'm not that funny. You went a stiffener. I'm not that funny. So I need you guys to hit that like bell. Well, the like fist. And I need you to tickle that bell and subscribe. All of that's free. YouTube is free. Just don't get premium because you'd have to pay. Other than that, it's all free. And if you do want to see me, hit that subscribe button, and then you decide I'm not worth watching. You can just unsubscribe. It's that fast. It takes like 5 seconds. But for my algorithms, to keep my channel, I need subscribers. And so even if you don't want to watch the video, you can keep. I have several, and I never keep up that I'm subscribed to, and it helps their algorithms. This is why I did so, because they have very good podcasts. Now I can't say my podcasts are really good yet. I don't drop videos like many of them do. And at this point in time, I don't have any guests. I may never have a guest. I may have to drop videos if that's what you want to see. If there's something you want to talk about, that's it, anything. And it's what it says in the description, that I believe it's social Woodstock. And I would talk about anything and everything, and hope that you would too. So I miss all of you, and I love all of you who I have, but I love so many of you that have stood by me. I can't express that enough. Without you guys, I could not do this. And again, I thank all of you very, very much for putting up with a little old lady who talks too much. Well, they say it's entertainment purposes only. I have to do the best I can. Usually it's funny because I have no production but me. And so, there's going to be gaffes here and there everywhere. Today, once I get off, I have a bunch I've got to do, and I see my time is nearly up. Guys, come see me. Learn to love. Let's show them what peace is about. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's not let everybody else talk and stay silent anymore. We're okay. Retired, we might be 60, we might be 70, we might be 20. Come talk to me. Talk. Just talk. It doesn't matter what subject. It doesn't matter if it's current events. It doesn't matter if it's paranormal. If there's a video you want to see, if there's a subject that you want to talk about, and see if it's going anywhere, say like Harvard today or Yale, I believe it was. Anything, throw it in there. I always have a live stream, and I understand most of us are at work at this time of day. I try to throw them onto Facebook as well. And I'm surprised that I've spent very little time on Facebook anymore. So if it doesn't get there, you can still pull it up on YouTube, and you can at least like it if you've got your, which I don't, have your passwords and everything in there. And if you're just downloading it, it's great because then you can do that real quick. But subscribe if you can. Share, tell your friends. Hey, there's a weirdo sitting at the bar drinking shots at 10 o'clock. It's kind of funny to me. I need you. I really, really need you guys. And I hate saying such a thing, but I do. It's so important. And right now it's free. And we have a chance to be heard. And I see other podcasts, and they're not like mine, but they're similar. But I need you, and I respect you, and I adore all of you who are with me now, and those that will be here at some other time. But for now, I'm going to have to dash, which I'm sure is a relief. So, toodles, everybody.